So it seems like we have another one, ladies and gentlemen. We have more fraud going on in this country. It seems like this stuff is absolutely rampant. I wonder how much money would we be saving as a country if we had zero fraud going on? What do you guys think that number is? 500 billion? A trillion? 2 trillion? 900 billion? What do you think that number is? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested to see your answers on that one. But we got another one to the tune of $70 million from just two individuals. Yeah. Wild stuff, man. Absolutely wild stuff. Sometimes I'm starting, sometimes I'm starting to think like, maybe I'm doing the wrong stuff in life. I don't know. I'm thinking I should be doing a little something else with life. 70 M's? Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. A story right out of Brooklyn. Let's jump into it.
Little story. I lived on the block of this place. Since I was in like the 4th grade up until I was in high school, I ain't never seen nobody come in that place. I never seen nobody go out. I never seen a soul. Not a soul, okay? But let me tell you something, the kicker. There's a fucking precinct across the street. This is where our tax-paying dollars are going. You mean to tell me for the past 20 years, these motherfuckers were spending all our tax-paying dollars, and then across the street, we're paying people, and they ain't even noticed. Oh, way to go. Like, that's insane. That's crazy. What are you doing? And I know it's federal. But, like, if I was a officer, I'd be checking the block, checking the community. I study criminal justice. I'd be looking in that place like, why is the whole window covered? Like, what they doing up in there? Because, listen, even as a kid, I look like, I ain't seen no old people. You know what? But we're the stupid ones. That's why I say get your fucking food stamp when you can. I don't care. Instead of funding $68 million to fake daycares, give everybody food stamps. Rich and poor. Because food is a necessity. Adult social care is not.
Actually, I think if we got rid of all the fraud, we genuinely could do that. But unfortunately, we have way too much fraud going on, so that is never going to happen. And also, I just would prefer, hey, just drop everybody's taxes, Simple. But, of course, as what happens with these types of stories, there's a lot more to it than that. And this brother right here dives into it a little bit deeper, so I want you guys to check this out as well.
Brooklyn business duo scammed Medicaid out of $68 million. Sakaya Khan and Osman Ijaz. This scam went on for 7 years from 2017 to 2024. They scammed Medicaid on several fronts. So one, they had 2 adult daycare businesses where they would have their people, they had recruiters. This was like a community scam. They had their recruiters go out into their community and sign people up for these daycares, but they never attended the daycares, and they gave those people kickbacks, money for signing up for these daycares they never attended. So one case, when they went to go audit the attendance records, the person that's supposed to have been there on that day was out of the country. Not out of the state, out of the country. Then they had another business where they worked as the middleman, like a payroll consultant between Medicaid and caregivers, because in New York, they have this program called Consumer Directed Personal Assistance Program, where it allows you to take care of your loved ones at home. So they worked as a middleman, like a payroll agency between Medicaid and the caregiver, and they overcharge Medicaid even in that aspect. They overcharge Medicaid and didn't really pay people what they were supposed to be paid. So this went on for 7 years. Even Kathy, the governor, said these programs they lack oversight and they're out of control. These scams been going on for years, and the governor can't even control them. This is her right here. This is what she said in 2023. This Brooklyn business duel scammed Medicaid out of
Crazy stuff, man. Absolutely wild. People just coming over from other countries, scamming the crap out of our system. Scamming the crap out of it. And you have Democrats out here defending it. My goodness, man. You just can't make this stuff up. You really can't. You really can't.
Welcome back. We are turning now to the Big Apple, where new multi-million-dollar fraud schemes are coming to light. Just this week, two scammers pleading guilty to a $68 million fraud scheme tied to the state's Medicaid home care program. The crooks billed for millions in services that they never provided. And unfortunately, it's not the only million-dollar scam recently exposed. News Nation's Leah Lando live in Manhattan tonight with the very latest. Leah, what are we learning on this?
Yes, Natasha, we've been looking into this just this past week, as you mentioned, two big cases in court involving millions of dollars in kickbacks and fraudulent billing to Medicaid. And we're talking about another notable case tonight that involves a program called CDPAP. Now, if you're not familiar with that, it is for people who need to be cared for, but they don't want to go to a nursing home. So through Medicaid, they can hire their own caretaker. They get to choose if it's a friend or a relative as long as they go through the process. And while it sounds good, it is also a big target for scammers.
This is a program that is put in place to help care for people at their home instead of having them go to nursing homes.
Attorney John Flynn says while New York's Consumer-Directed Personal Assistance Program, or CDPAP, is meant to make things easier for loved ones who need care, it's also become the target of sophisticated scammers.
The actual program itself is for a good cause, but you have bad people out there who are taking advantage of federal and state money.
Just this past week, two New Yorkers pled guilty to a $68 million fraud scheme tied to CDPAP, billing Medicaid for services at Brooklyn-based adult daycares that never actually happened. These fraudsters were, quote, large-scale recruiters who bribed patients with laundered cash and billed Medicaid over $68 million for services that were not provided. New York Attorney General Letitia James announcing a separate $1 million-plus conviction this week, also involving fake billing and kickback schemes tied to the state's Medicaid program. Unfortunately for the state's CDPAP program, fraud is nothing new. Back in 2018, a man arranged for friends and family members to be paid as home caregivers for his sick mom. Later, investigators found out that his mom wasn't even in the country. She was living in Bangladesh. And during home inspections, his brother impersonated her to keep the fraud going. Back in 2024, Governor Kathy Hochul calling CDPAP a, quote, racket and one of the most abused programs in the entire history of the state of New York. News Nation reached out to the governor's office for comment on the recent fraud charges, and a spokesperson for the governor tells me she has, quote, taken steps to fix the system by cutting out hundreds of middlemen. Yet the fraud continues.
Exactly. I don't get it. Like, she called it a racket. So why don't you shut it down? The fraud is still going on. So I am so confused. So confused. And you know what's gonna happen with this? If it weren't for Trump, they would arrest these two individuals, and then they would go about their day as if these two individuals were the only ones. They would just keep on pushing. Nothing to see here. We got him, guys. We got him. It's crazy, man. And like I said before, I think Democrats at the highest levels are getting kickbacks. That is the only reason, at least in my mind, I don't have any evidence of this, okay, just full disclosure, but that is the only reason why somebody would sit back and allow fraud to happen in their state. It's because you're getting a piece of the pie. It's what makes logical sense. Hey, make sure y'all make those donations to the campaign, please. I don't know. Y'all let me know how you feeling, though.
And Natasha, the governor's office also telling me that one example of Letitia James busting the transportation company owner is an example of efforts to stop this kind of crime from happening. And when Republicans asked for an audit of the CDPAP program here in New York. Hochul calling that a political stunt, saying there are already measures in place. Clearly, a lot of government-funded programs are the target of scammers. And, of course, President Donald Trump announcing recently that new division to combat crimes like this. Natasha.
Leah Lando live in New York.
She wanted to call it a political stunt because there's already things in place to allegedly stop the fraud. Well, clearly it ain't working. Somebody just scammed taxpayers to the tune of $70 million in 7 years. In just 7 years, they collected $70 million. Not $70, not $70,000, $70 million. $70 million. And do you think you're going to recover all that money? No. A good chunk of that money is long gone. Actually, I would venture to say most of that money is long gone. Yeah, you caught the people that did it. Sure. They're going to go to prison for a while. Sure. But what about that money? That money that was meant to help out American citizens, you'll never get it. And so now you want to, like they always do, accuse the Trump administration of something else. Oh, it's just political. Well, if even if you felt like it was political, we could play along with that. If you were doing your job and making sure that there was no waste, fraud, or abuse, when Trump's team, when the Trump administration took a look at the records, they would find absolutely nothing, and that would make you, Kathy Hochul, look good. The problem is, that isn't what's going to happen. They're going to take a look and realize that your state is rampant with fraud, and it's going to make you look absolutely horrible. Just saying. That's what I think, but more fraud, ladies and gentlemen, even more fraud going on. Congratulations. We have had our tax dollars wasted like crazy. What a shame. Get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.